Woke up this morning, told me get out quick, but the sleeping's no good on the rumble strip. Left Dallas in Georgia, I left Belize in Maine. 5 in the morning I'll be leaving Miami for Louisiana. In my clouds eating weed, eating road, eating 91C, breezing 2,000 feet uphill, riding the highway down. It tears me up, this rolling cold. Stay green, we'll see you where the river turns under the road. And a mean old man in blue gotta scratch the edge. Oh, don't you dare get caught on the dark by that son of a bitch. In the clouds, eating weed, eating road, bleeding 91C, breezing 6,000 feet uphill, riding the highway down. Take much for oil, diesel on my sock, but you never see that mean old sea breeze smoking on the rocks. Ran this rambling rig down the California coast, but it's down in Death Valley where she did her living the most. In the clouds, eating weed, eating road, bleeding 91C, breezing 5,000 feet uphill, riding the highway down. Get no warning for that cactus prick, and the sleeping's still no good on the rumble strip. In the clouds, eating weed, eating road, bleeding 91C, breezing 12,000 feet uphill, riding the highway down, riding the highway down, riding the highway down. Clouds, eating weed, eating road, beating 91C, breezing clouds, eating weed, eating road, beating 91C, riding the highway down, riding the highway down, riding the highway down.
Good day to you. My name is Bobby Bullitt, Saint Germain, and I'm going to sing a song here called Looking at Me, the first time it's sang in public at the Tiny Desk contest. So hope you enjoy it. I may disappear when you're looking at me, looking at me, looking at me. Take a closer look and you will see. Will see a human being. I have feelings too, just like you, just like you, just like you. Sunshine too, sunshine too, just like you. There must be a place in this big old world, big old world that we can share. Don't want to disappear when you're looking at me, looking at me, looking at me.
Summertime's come, and the trees are sweetly blooming, and the wild mountain thyme grows around the blooming heather.
Drink it with gin or drink with Dwight. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Drink it for peace or drink it to fight. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Go to bed at 8 or party all night. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Athens Light, Athens Light. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light. Enjoy Athens Light at Pizza on the Farm every Friday and Saturday. Stony Acres Brewing, Athens, Wisconsin. Drink an appropriate amount of Athens Light.
Some water? You need some
Yeah,
water?
do you got some? Didn't think about it. Dale? Or you can run in my van. If you just open up the side door, there should be a big clear plastic glass next to a Brita filter. If you could just bring me in some water, it'd be great, please. It's right in the cabinetry when you open up the side door. Thank you.
He's got cabinetry.
What's that?
You've got cabinetry.
I hadn't seen that Stony Acres for a while.
Oh, no? Yeah, they did pretty cool video. Well, hey, welcome to a special session of the Midwest Music Hour, live from the Bertsch Barn. Today, I'm joined by Randal Harrison. Wow, an esteemed musician currently residing in the Madison area, greater Madison area, southern part of Wisconsin. But he's really spent his career on the road all the time, it seems like, living in and out of a van or a bus, hotel rooms, couches, beaches.
Half tucks will travel in Bermuda shorts too.
Yeah, baby.
That's right.
We're just talking a little bit about earlier this year. You had spent a lot of time down in the Florida Keys.
Yeah.
Key West.
A lot of gigs from mostly in Key West, but all the way up to Marathon in the lower Keys. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those places that's pretty magical to be a musician and to be in, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. I've been going down for, I guess ever since I started playing with Piper Road about 15 years ago. And I started off with, we'd go down for 2 weeks and we'd workshop new material down there and play at restaurants, bars, whoever would have us just to workshop a bunch of new stuff. And we'd stay at friends and, of course, get out on the water. And it was wonderful. And we'd come back in the summertime and hit the season and be all ready with new material. And, of course, that 2 weeks eventually turned into a month and then 2 months. And then COVID hit and everything shut down everywhere else. So I stayed down there for 2 years and because everything was outside and everything was open and I was able to play. So, yeah. His lack of playing, lack of performing, doesn't affect me. So it was good to be playing. That's right.
Oh, absolutely.
Got to make noise. Yeah.
What's now we could talk about instruments for just a moment. Now the carbon fiber body violin, does that do better in that hot environment?
Yes, it does. A regular violin is made of wood, and the glue that holds it together is hide glue, which is something that can release the gluing properties by putting hot water on it. In fact, that's important for a violin so you can take it apart to fix pieces and fix wood. But if you leave it out in the hot humidity, it will fall apart into its pieces. And that's what happened to mine. I was down in the Keys for, there were 3 months of 105 heat index and lots of humidity, the salt air. I opened my case one day and the neck had separated and it just fell apart, came out, fingerboard was sitting on top of the violin, it was in pieces and
Totally brutal.
yeah,
Jeez.
pretty rough,
Well,
pretty rough.
so-
My dad,
I mean, you weren't at a
fixed.
gig like getting ready, unpacking and like getting
No,
ready to
thankfully
play
it was
or
the
nothing,
morning
right?
beforehand. I was running some things, but I'm wanting to run some things. And I got by with a couple of days of bringing my good violin up, and I didn't really want to do that, because for obvious reasons. And so I ordered this one, and I've been playing this one a ton, and I haven't pulled out my good violin in quite some time because it works everywhere. I'll be teaching in the high altitude, low humidity of Colorado, teaching up in the mountains where it's basically desert up there, and at that elevation. And then and it works fine. And I get down to the Keys where I'm teaching in Singapore, and I open it up, and it's you're at sea level, and it's pretty wet out, and it sounds the same no matter where it's at. It doesn't need days to adjust, and yeah. So it's pretty nice. And if the hurricane comes now, when I'm down in the Keys, I can use the violin as a paddle, and I can escape the storm.
All right. But that's got to be one of the tough things about, being on the road constantly.
Yeah.
When equipment breaks down, inevitably.
Well,
what do you
right.
kind of do to prepare?
Who do you
for
call?
that
I have
situation?
lots of people use Sweetwater. I use Full Compass. They're my choice of get things to me wherever I'm at quickly. And Jim Roof, thank you very much. He's my guy there at Full Compass. He's always taken great care of me. And on instruments, this one, the Lewis and Clark, I don't expect it to break down just because it's so tough. But they got it to me in 2 days up from Boston down to the Keys. And
Wow.
everything takes at least a day longer to get to the Keys. So I was impressed. It's kind of like next day service.
That is really cool. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I gave him specifications for how to cut the bridge so I could get my pickup on it, and I was a go. I got it that morning, and I got in about noon. I had a gig at 6 o'clock. I drove from Big Big Pine down to Key West, and I was rolling. So, yeah.
What were you with your pickup there? When you're trying out different pickups, what were you looking for in the
Well,
pickup quality to go with?
Yeah, they
Is there a
sent me, or
specific-
I got a. They normally send this set up to use with a realist pickup, and it's the kind of pickup that is this little, I don't know, it's about a half a centimeter by about maybe 3 centimeters, and it fits under the feet of the bridge. And it works, and some people swear by them and really like them. I've always, since I finally found a pickup that works for me, I use this Fishman pickup. And I have a violin that's usually dedicated to playing electrically. Therefore, my violin that fell apart and quote unquote my good violin. I'm just using it. I pulled the pickup off for today just because it sounds better acoustically. But I use the Fishman.
Cool.
And I don't use it the way they ask me to have it used, though. They say to put it under the G string side, and I put it under the E string side, and they give specifications for how thick that space is between the foot and the wing, and I tell people, don't read the directions. I want it thinner, it needs to be thinner so it's a tighter fit on the E string side, and for whatever reason, you put it on the G string, the lower string side, and it sounds really tinny. You put it up on the E string side, and I think on the violin bridge, the frequencies cross through the bridge to get down to the bass bar or something. It's some funky physics with it, but sounds better on the tinny side. It sounds more full. So, yeah.
Well, a lot of players talk about their epic journey to like discovering their tone and et cetera, et cetera.
I spent a long time
Yeah,
finding a pickup
yeah.
that worked. I had spent years basically I was starting at the wrong end, but I'd build a one-channel PA system essentially for my violin, and I was using kind of awful pickups. I didn't know any better. And
He glued a humbucker to
yeah,
that.
well, he had these things I put on with putty, and then I'd use lavalier mics. I was trying to,
Putty.
do everything on the cheap except this amp I needed to build was going to be really,
Yeah.
Finally, I got the right pickup on it. It's like I can plug into anything now. So yeah.
Wicked. Cool. Yeah, and you're not you don't have a pedal board in front of you, but styles in terms of styles of music that you cover and play. I mean, it's
Everything.
everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't leave anything.
I grew up as a Suzuki student, that first generation of Suzuki kids. My teacher was Marge Aber, who studied with Dr. Suzuki in Japan and brought it back here to the States, and started the American Suzuki Institute. So all of the pioneer Suzuki teachers from all the big conservatories like Juilliard and Eastman and Oberlin, all these people would come to Stevens Point, Wisconsin for the American Suzuki Institute. It's the only thing outside of Japan. And they'd all come there to study and talk and be colleagues together and share new ideas. And because my teacher was Marjorie Aber, I got to, when Dr. Suzuki came, I'd have master classes with him when he'd come over from Japan. And all these, great conservatory teachers were really interested in the method. And for 8-10 years, the first 10 years of the Institute, I would get to study with these people from all over the world.
Dang.
And I met friends from all over the world. People would come in from Europe. There were no Suzuki institutes in Europe, so they'd come from there. And right now we're really building a lot of Suzuki programs in the Americas, like, down in Latin America and down in South America. And so it's a real big connection. And I'm very, very lucky, timing, just to be born at that time, to be a student of Miss Aber's and to get to study with all these great people. I was very lucky.
How old were you when you started that?
I was a late bloomer for the Suzuki world. I was 6 years old when I started.
6 years
Yeah.
old, huh?
Yeah.
Dang.
So I've as a teacher now, a Suzuki teacher, I have students from 2-3 years old up to, my oldest was 93. So really it works for all ages. Yeah. I forget the rest of your question. I'm very tangential today. So.
That's beautiful. Well, let me stop asking questions for a minute. Would you like to share a song with us?
I would be honored to.
Oh, we'd
Would you
be
like a
honored for
song
that.
or a tune?
Oh, what's the difference?
Well, a song is something one would sing, something with words. A tune is just something without words.
How about a tune?
A tune, okay.
Fiddle me a tune, would you, Randall? Fiddle me a
Yes,
tune,
of
would you?
course, of course, of course. We'll figure out what that tune is in a moment. Something like that.
Oh, way cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was a tune I wrote called Tangology. I was really into, had just been turned on to this guy, Astor Piazzolla, a bandoneon player, which is an Italian accordion, which kind of works like, not like a keyboard accordion, but like a concertina, but a button accordion, and it has, like a harmonica, it has different pitches when you pull it out on the bellows than when you pull in or push in. And anyway, he's from Argentina, and he wrote and came up with a whole new style of stuff called Tango Nuevo, which is new tangos. And it was really concert tangos as opposed to in the dance hall to dance to tangos. I really loved his stuff, and that was, ology is the study of. That was the first one I wrote, after listening to Astor Piazzolla stuff, and so I called it tangology. Not very inventive, but that's it's just a name.
When you, jeez. When you write stuff like that, are you writing for different circumstances? Maybe something that you've got your band in mind for? Other times
I usually do. That one really was, well, I guess I had players in mind too, because I knew who was going to play it. But I was just really diving into Astor Piazzolla stuff, and I wrote a bunch of tangos, Piazzolla-inspired stuff. But yeah, in the back of my mind, I was writing for the people I was playing with, the people I wanted to play it, and that was for a trio of violin, bass, and drums called very inventively the Randal Harrison Trio. Got to put a little more thought into these names, I think. But that was with Dane Richardson on drums and Mark Ernest on bass, and they're at the conservatory at Lawrence University in Appleton. And my dad always said, hire guys that are better than you are. And I do as often as I can, and I do when I hire Mark and Dane to play with. Dane and I have been playing together since we played in a fusion reggae band called the Red Stripe Reggae Band. Guess who our sponsor was? The Red Stripe beer. But we played like 2.5 years every Wednesday night, plus other gigs with it. We had a house gig with it, and since 88, I guess, we started playing together. So we know each other's playing really well. Mark I started playing with, I think, in 2007. He had just moved into town. He had come back out of New York as a session player there, and got the gig at Lawrence. And somebody said, I called my regular bass player, who I love, John Gibson. He's fabulous. He said, I can't do it, but you really should hire Mark. He's the best bass player in the Midwest right now. So I was like, okay. And he was right.
Yeah. Personal referral, kind of the way you've met most of these guys?
Yeah, and then you get to know their playing, and it affects how you write. I'm writing for different. I always heard that Duke Ellington had always, wrote for his different players in his band. Wasn't just writing for a 10-piece jazz orchestra. He was writing with specific voices in mind with different parts, and that's part of why his compositions are so cool. It's really the players that were playing it.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot. So I definitely was hearing Dane and Mark playing on that piece.
And how do you communicate that conceptualization to those players? Are you?
Well, they're pretty magical. I'll throw charts in front of them,
okay.
And then because I already know what's going to happen, or I think I know, and I give it to them, and we run a couple of things, and usually it's a rehearsal or two before the gig, maybe, and if it's a new project coming together, and I throw it in front of them, and I go, that's exactly what I wanted, but there's so much more that you're putting into it. They're very creative people, and they can read. Like you had mentioned, we played last night together. You said, well, there's this original tune. Oh, that was a blast.
Thank you.
You're great. I love your material. But you said something like, there's this, did this thing in the studio with one thing, and it took a long time, blah, 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 and you just kind of fell into it, and it worked right away the first time, and we hadn't heard it before, right?
Yeah,
and that's what these guys do all the time, and they hear a tune, and the melody and the structure underneath, and the rhythmic stuff, and all the harmonies and stuff, and they hear how it should be played. I think my comment to you was like, well, it just seemed like the right way to play it.
Yeah.
That's what they do, and that's what they do with my music, and I'm so lucky when I get to play with these guys, and that same thing happens.
There's a certain intuitive nature to
they're just really good.
Yeah.
Good at what they do. Some people are really good at brain surgery. These guys are the brain surgeons of music.
Yeah, and people talk about music and how it can impact others. Have you experienced any cool moments in your musical career where you've seen maybe a great healing or
it just
it was an emotional moment on stage?
Right. When I guess there's a lot of them. It's hard to. I mean, it's why I do what I do, right? That connection with folks, and to hope that what you're doing is translated in a way that they can grab onto and make their own for the moment. You know, like when I'm playing with Honor Among Thieves, very improvisational, it's rock, blues based, but totally eclectic, big jam band. It's different every night with everything we do. And but when we're really communicating on stage and things are really clicking, we're also clicking with the audience at the same time and getting that feeding of the energy back and forth. And to see the dancers out there with what we're doing. I mean, we're a very heady band, but essentially we're still a dance band, you know. And to see people just getting it, what we're doing, and going along on the ride with us, and the smiles on their faces, it's really wonderful. Yeah. And then there's a side of when I'm teaching, you know, those aha moments when a student gets something, that light bulb goes off that they've been working on for a while. You know, lately I'm the fun teacher that comes in. I'm not the teacher that I'm not teaching Tuesday at 4 anymore. You know, I'm the guy that comes in and does a workshop or institute or something, and you sign up. And so they may have been working on this thing that's been very tricky for them, and working with their teacher, and their teacher's saying all the right things, but and doing the right things. But when I come in, it's the new voice. They're hearing it, you know, somebody new saying it, and all of a sudden it clicks for them. And of course I get all the credit, but it's not. It's all the teacher's work that has happened before that. But to see that aha moment in a student is very exciting. Yeah. I always find teaching is important to me, and performing is really important to me too. I mean, just for my mental health, if nothing else. But I know I'm a better performer when I'm teaching, and I'm a better teacher when I'm performing.
Kind of hand in hand.
Yeah.
It's a good a way of balancing, if you will.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find balance in life because I'm a little. You know.
Takes one to be one, eh?
There you go.
Well, people have compared your violin playing to a number of great musicians, and your compositions have been, you know, held in high esteem. You've won a number of Madison Area Music Awards for your playing and your musicianship, and what a cool place to make, you know, Madison kind of a home base to work out of. And you know, like you said, during COVID, the shutdown, you spent a lot of time down in Florida, which was amazing. Allowed you to keep playing and doing your
it really did.
doing your thing, and
it's important. You know, it seemed like 6 months after. First of all, I always jokingly quote a quote from the movie Barfly with Mickey Rourke and Faye Dunaway. There's one time he says, "It's not that I hate people; it's just that things seem to go much better when they're not around." You know, so the first 6 months of COVID, I kind of enjoyed it. You know, it's like, all right, it's quiet, and I'm even doing my stuff. But then, you know, we need people, and we need community. And it seemed like it started 6 months in, when I know my friends. I mean, I suffer from depression and mental health stuff, and I have friends that have the same, and you know, us creative types, you know, deal with it a lot. But it seemed that at 6 months, my first friend committed suicide, and it seemed like every 6 months after that, throughout COVID, and I lost somebody again in June that didn't really hit. I was traveling up, and you know, I knew Sean was gone, but it really didn't hit until I was at a bluegrass festival where we would always play late at night. He was a teacher as well, and he was one of these folks that just shared everything they had, musically, mentoring and whatnot with young kids come through. So we connected on a lot of different levels, and we'd play late into the night and tell stories, and it was wonderful. And that, when I got there, and that's when I realized he was gone. You know? So anyway, blah blah blah. That's the hard side of the isolation that we've all been dealing with for the last 3 years. But it's getting better, and you know, hopefully I won't have to wait another 4 or 5 months and hear that happens again.
Continue to evolve.
Yeah.
Was there any music?
There was a fun side of your question I just didn't go to. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Forgot what that part was.
That's okay. Was there any music that came out of that time for you, or was that not a creative period? With all the playing that you ended up doing, you know, the opportunities that you had for, you know, for that, it wasn't like maybe downtime, shut-in time like it might have been.
No, there
for
really
others,
was. You know, there really was 2 months. It happened. Everything shut down St. Patrick's Day, 2020, in the Keys, and it opened back up May 1st, though. So I had that quiet time, and it was just dark for me. Everything was just dark, you know. But then I got playing again, which was really good. But the playing I was playing with this singer-songwriter, or this cover doing whatnots, and I really was just playing 6, 7, 8 shows a week, and just kind of seat of my pants, just being thrown in with new people every night to being the side man and doing my job of making them sound good, kind of thing. So it wasn't a real creative side for myself personally, but it was really good to be playing and helping other people shine. Yeah.
Did you get a chance to do different styles with those folks, or was there like a commonality between styles and musical choices?
Well, down in the Keys, there's a scene, but it's a small one. You know, you think of Florida, Key West is, it's this big tourist town, blah blah blah, and it is, but it's all tourists. It's a town of 20,000 people. It's not that big of people that live there. So there are great musicians down there, but it's like New York. Only 15% of the people in New York like jazz. There's a lot of people that like jazz in New York, but 15% of people in the Keys or in Key West is not that many people, right? So if I'm going to be drawing on musicians like I do, that I just have in contact over the years, I'm limited who I'm drawing upon for certain styles of stuff. Just really don't exist because there's just low numbers everywhere with it, and it's a small community. But there's great musicians there, like Sam Carlson is a singer-songwriter who is really writing some wonderful material, kind of on the Americana side of things, the country side of things, even doing the bluegrass Americana side of it. But he's got a unique sound with his songwriting. I like what he's doing harmonically, and his words are fantastic, his stories he tells. So Sam Carlson is a guy that I play with, and also play with Alexander Michael, the guitar player down there who plays with Sam. They've been partnering up for years, and I've been kind of glomming onto them as much as I can, because they do a lot of hot club stuff, you know, that Django, Grappelli stuff, and so that's really fun to play with them. And there's Channing, she is a clarinet player, and we'll do that French jazz stuff with that too. I'll be doing some more playing with her when I get down again in the fall. And Adam, AJ Stamper is a great singer. He does mostly covers, not a big songwriter. He has a few, but it's mostly covers. But he's just such a great entertainer, and we have a lot of fun playing together. And Channing's going to be coming in on some of that stuff when I get down having a trio. So solid friends. Some friends that have moved out of town, like Terry Cassidy, who really helped me connect with the folks in the Keys, and made it possible so that now when I come down, I can make 2 or 3 calls and I can be working solid, you know.
Cool.
So good friends.
Awesome.
And then non-musician, just supportive friends who've known for years down there and built up friendships, and really, it's a good community down there. And I have this great community up in Madison right now, and I'm like, kind of now like, and that my daughter's through college, so I'm like in this transition in my life. I'm like, you know, what am I going to do with myself this next year? But I have great communities to choose from. so there are worse problems.
Yeah, right on. Well, is there a composition that you have that?
You know, I did write one, and you're going to have to, from down there in the keys.
Yeah.
That unfortunately you're going to have to hear me play guitar on. I'm
no.
a violin player, not really a guitar player.
Oh, jeez.
so-
Well, you're gonna suffer now through
Yeah.
some guitar playing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, I'm really nervous playing in front of you, who you're an actual real guitar player. So this is. Let's see. I should probably get a cheat sheet up for this. Since it's one of mine, you haven't heard it on the radio. I need the cheat sheet here too.
Cool.
This one is. I guess I wrote it after, one of my friends passed, so if you want to put the suicide hotline number underneath, but it's now don't they have an what is it's a 988 number now for mental health. You can call directly and get help all across the country. So if you need help, this song was I wrote it after a friend passed, but it's really written for someone you've been in a relationship forever, or a partner or a wife or husband or someone, and that's gone. So, in danger of bringing us all down here, I'm going to play some. When my mom heard it, she cried. So. Gone are the days that you told me that you loved me. Gone for now, gone for now. Someday you tell me that you love me, but those days are gone for now, gone for now. Someday I will find you there. Someday I will leave this world without a care. Someday you tell me once again that you love me, but those days are gone for now, are gone for now. Dreams that you left me keep me rolling, keep me holding on to you. My dreams of you are like whispers in the morning. Now we're laughing, now we're loving. I long for you, always true. But now and then I remember when you held my hand and said goodbye with tears in my eyes. You said, go on without me, don't be lonely, find another, promise me you'll find your way, it's okay. Promise me you'll seize the day, it's okay. Gone are the days that you told me that you love me. Gone for now, gone for now. Someday you tell me that you love me, but those days are gone for now, gone for now. Someday I will find you there. Someday I will leave this world without a care. Someday you tell me once again that you love me, but those days are gone for now, are gone for now. But those days are gone for now, are gone for now. So that is that's the last you'll hear of me playing guitar today.
Well, that was way cool.
We can fake it when we need to, but yeah.
We don't have to get into the precise number of years that you've been a musician, playing music.
I started as a kid at 7.
Right, yeah.
1970.
We-
You can do the math.
Okay.
Yeah.
We do a little math. There's got to be a certain balance. Well, because some nights you're playing on the beach, and other nights you're in a concert hall, and you
Right.
know, and the next night you're in a dive bar. How do you approach that? Is that a certain preparation going to there? Is there a certain something you carry with you, saying, well, "I'm doing what I love. I'm playing music." Like, doesn't you know?
Well,
is
there's-
there?
Yeah,
how-
I mean, you
how's that dynamic
grow
like
up
over
and
the years?
and playing and performing. I mean, neat thing about the Suzuki method, there's performances throughout. I got used to playing in front of people right from the very beginning. So it's never been I mean, I always get a little edgy, but I never get like nervous like I'm not going to play, you know. But that thing you bring is that it doesn't matter who's out there. You're going to play your best. You know, if there's one person, that's an opportunity to really connect intimately with somebody with your music. I mean, that's a very cool thing. When there's, you know, 10,000 people out there, it's a different gig. And at that point, you're at the mercy of the sound engineer, whether you're going to be able to connect with people or not, right? They're another member of the band.
Yeah.
So it's different. But it's like acting in a way, you know. Sometimes you're in this small little black box thing, and sometimes you're on stage and you need to project to the back of the room, right? And your gestures are larger. Everything you do is, I mean, it's a different kind of performance, but they're all. Hi there.
You saying hi?
You got your headphones on.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't matter what well, we mentioned this last night. You know, somebody said, what's your favorite song to play? And it's like, well, my stock answer, and it's true, is my favorite song is the one I'm playing,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if that's not the essence or your truth, then you're playing it wrong. Right?
Yeah.
So I don't have a favorite style. I don't have a favorite piece. I have things that are easier for me to play, that are easier for me to maybe connect with an audience on some things. But they all have their place. I mean, I grew up playing classical music. My dad taught me my first fiddle tune on the farm, up at my grandparents' farm. They homesteaded up in Spooner, Wisconsin. So we'd go up there once a month from Appleton, before there were 4-lane highways, so it was a 6-hour drive. So once a month, and if it was time to, you know, if we were haying, we were throwing bales of hay. That's what you did. So that's when I learned my first fiddle tune. I guess in junior high, my sister had a boyfriend who was really into Doc Watson and got the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. And then I got it right away. He said, you need to get this album. So I went and got the album. And in junior high, it was my first tune I transcribed off of an album was Vassar Clemens' Lonesome Fiddle Blues, off that Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. And I was a poor transcription I did, but it was my first. So now people say, oh, you can play it. Well, no, I can kind of play it. Not really like Vassar anymore. So that was that. But and I had in high school some friends asked me to play in a country rock band to meet girls, and it worked. But they were also really into jazz. And my dad was not only played violin, was an orchestra director in public schools, but he also played saxophone and clarinet and would play in polka bands and jazz combos and whatnot. So I grew up learning the tune Sunny, Sunny. I learned that from my dad singing it in the shower. You know? So, and then these guys in high school were doing the country rock thing, but they were really into jazz. So the bass player was playing Donna Lee, Charlie Parker heads on his bass, and in fact, I just saw him a couple of weeks ago. Sticks, Steve.
Dang.
They influenced me a lot with that too. And then I played with Irish bands and reggae bands and obviously bluegrass bands, and I've played Indian classical music, delved into some klezmer. I fake a lot of different things. I have a curse and a blessing that I was at a bluegrass festival just in late June. We were playing with Piper Road, and another fiddle player from the Millbillies from Milwaukee, Joe, came up to me afterwards and said, "I heard 3 notes and I knew it was you." I'm like, oh, that's so cool. A recognizable sound. No matter what I do, it sounds like me, which is a cool thing, and I've worked really hard to get that. But it also means if you want to hire somebody to sound like Stephane Grappelli, I can't do it anymore. I've gone through my Stephane phase. I don't do it that way anymore. So, curse and a blessing. Lose out on a bunch of work, but if you want it to sound like me, I can do that all night long.
Finally found your voice.
That's right.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, on the rock and roll side of it and the jazz side of it, there's another band, the Furious Bongos, which is all the music of Frank Zappa. So, it's from old-timey, folky stuff to Frank Zappa's 10-piece band on the road. We tour a few weeks, a few times a year, and to my jazz trios, to Honor Among Thieves, which is all this jam band rock and roll stuff, to Piper Road Spring Band, which is bluegrass, and as you say, tux. I have tux and will travel, and Bermuda shorts works too. I'll even put on a cowboy hat if you want me to. I don't care. It's all about the music. Whatever I'm playing at that time, that's what I'm into. So.
Your website's randalharrison.com.
Correct.
And
Facebook is Randal Harrison Hoecherl, my full name. Harrison's my middle name. That's what I go by because people can either, unless they grew up with me, they can either say Hoecherl or spell Hoecherl. And even the folks I grew up with can't usually do both too much,
Yeah.
So Harrison works a lot better on the marquee. And my dad's name is Harry. That's how I got my name. I'm Harry's son, so he doesn't mind.
Yeah. Way cool. But folks can go there, find out where you're playing. Your shows are on there on your calendar. If they're interested in lessons, they can contact you as well.
Yeah, just if you go to the website, all my contact information is there. Give me a call is probably the most efficient way, call or text. But I'll eventually get to an email. Don't hold your breath. It will happen, though. Usually.
We're on island time, baby.
I mean, if you're sending me a contract, text me and let me know it's there, and I'll take care of it right away. Yeah.
Little heads up. This one's important. Get back to me.
There you go.
Well, speaking of that, tomorrow night in Rhinelander at 7 p.m., you'll be performing at Art Start.
Yep.
They've got an outdoor stage. Maybe if the
We're
weather's
hoping we
bad,
can
you'll
use
be
the outdoor
moving
stage.
Inside, but,
with the weather.
Yeah, hopefully the weather holds up for you. And what are you looking forward to most about that opportunity? Like you'll be a solo artist for that one,
Right.
Outside of these, the plethora of band gigs, or when you get to sit in with other musicians and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I mean, it's limiting in a way that I don't have all these other people that I can depend on stage. But I love the solo thing also because I'm not limited to play the genre we were hired to play. So I get to play a little of everything, right? I get to play some of my original stuff, like both instrumentally, like Tangology, we played earlier, and this Whispers in the Morning, some songs, the singing, and then I get to cover a bunch of stuff. I think I'll be doing. It'll be delving into the avant-garde as well, and then I'll play a little Buffalo Springfield to some Elizabeth Cotton to. Gosh, I don't know. It could be all over the place. We'll see what comes out tomorrow.
That's way cool. So that's a pretty unique opportunity for you to be.
I'm sorry?
It's fairly unique situation for you to be on stage.
Yeah, I don't. I've done a lot of solo stuff, but it's usually in a. If I'm teaching an institute or doing an artist in residency, I'll be doing recitals kind of thing, doing some solo things there. But to be playing for a 2-hour performance, all solo, it's not, I can't say new, but I'm re-looking at that. So I'm kind of reworking everything I'm doing, and so which means, you know, kind of the world is my oyster is another way of saying I really don't know what I'm going to do when I start, and we'll see what comes out.
The
So,
possibilities are wide open.
that's right.
Well, cool. Well, would you be interested in sharing another song with us?
Sure. Do you like a song or a tune?
How about a song?
Okay. Since we mentioned some Buffalo Springfield before, let's see if
Ooh, Buffalo Springfield.
this one seems appropriate for the times as well. You know, it. I like how it kind of gives us a check on what we're doing right now and how we're reacting to each other and how we're taking care of each other or not taking care of each other. But there's no assigned blame in the song. Right?
Yeah.
There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there telling me that I've got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people are speaking, their minds are getting so much resistance from behind. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. What a field day for the heat. 1,000 people in the street singing songs and carrying signs, mostly saying hooray for side. I think it's time we stop, children. What's it sound? Everybody look what's going down. Paranoia strikes deep into your life, it will creep. It starts when you are always afraid. Step out of line and the man comes to take you away. I think it's time we stop, children. What's it sound? Everybody look down. They say, stop children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. They say, stop children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. Something like that.
Yeah, baby. Way cool.
A little something, something. That was fun.
Yeah.
I gotta save my voice for tomorrow.
So the Suzuki method on violin, does that incorporate vocal training as well, or was?
With the right teacher, it does. Okay. Yeah, it also incorporates theory and reading and all that stuff. But it's commonly referred to as the mother tongue method of learning how to play the violin or whatever instrument. There's lots of instrument-specific literature for the Suzuki method. So there's violin, viola, cello, bass, piano, harp, voice, trumpet. There's starting trombone, guitar. You know, so there's a lot of all kinds of different instruments that have literature laid out. And what I love about the literature is it really adds just one new thing on each piece. So you've got this bass, strong bass you're working on. It's really methodically laid out for success in your growth on your instrument. But the mother tongue method of it is Dr. Suzuki noticed that children would learn to speak Japanese, not the easiest of languages, but you learn how to learn it wherever they grew up, that dialect. And he said for him, this northern dialect was just almost foreign to him and really hard to learn kind of thing. But those children learn that really easily because they grew up in that environment, hearing it over and over and over. So just like how we teach our children to speak, we start with, you know, gestures and syllables and goo-goos and gagas, and they turn into words and mommies and daddies, and then they after full words they get concepts and full sentences, and pretty soon they're just speaking conversationally. And we don't expect our kids to learn to read before they learn to speak. So we do that with the violin too when we start them really young, because they don't read yet. But we're teaching them how to speak on their instrument through their violin and to make music and to be conversational with it, and starting on that journey of being an artist. But when they reach the age of where they're starting to be able to read and understand that abstract thing of words on the page having meaning and sound, then we incorporate that into what they're doing as well. Wow. But lots of ear training right from the very beginning, and with the right teacher. I guess for anything, it doesn't matter if they're Suzuki teacher or not. Good teachers are good teachers, right? You're gonna learn everything about it. So,
Yeah.
you know.
And you know, starting that at 6 years old, do you obviously now, I don't know if you can imagine doing anything else with your life, but was
No.
there a moment, did you have a moment that was like, this is what I am, this is what I shall do forever, yes?
No, I didn't need to choose it.
It just, it was
I
there
guess
from...
it's just what I do. But I also I didn't feel like I had to choose it because I also do other things. You know, my dad grew up on the farm, so he did everything. He also played violin. It was his way of getting off the farm, right? His other brothers got off the farm by joining the military. My dad went to college and did this music thing. He also got drafted. He did that thing too. But that was his way off the farm. But you know, he also taught me to, build a fence and how to weld and how to work with wood and fix tables around the house. And that window needs to be fixed. Let's do it. And taught me how to do that too. So, you know, I do a lot of, you know, like the band I've been living with in the last 5 years, I've been doing a lot of work on that, and all those skills are coming in handy. You know, the electric, the plumbing, the carpentry stuff, and, the design aspect of it. And so I enjoy doing a lot of different things, including fishing. Which,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I can stay up long enough to actually sneak that in this time around. But, and I love to cook. love to share. I guess most things I do, it's about eventually sharing what you're doing with other people. You know, even if it's writing, that's a very solitary thing, but eventually it's shared with an audience. When you're building a table, eventually that's shared. You know, I think that's the key to whatever we find that's going to sustain us, is that we're communal creatures as human beings. You know, we work better in a group, even if we need our alone time. You know. I know I do.
How many recordings do you think, ballpark, you've been part of making, either your own?
I wouldn't know. I know it's
artist,
it's been over 100 of them. I have that in my bio or whatever. But it's from my first
Do you remember?
artist
Do you remember
CD.
your first one?
Yeah, like a band kind of thing that hired me to play fiddle on was the Swing Crew out of Wisconsin Dells. Dennis and Dan Soma at the time. Dan's passed now, but cancer got him. But Dennis is still playing up a storm. I just played with them a couple of weeks ago. But I played on their first CD. I think it was 1980 or 82 or something like that.
That was
my
5 years
first
before
artist
your
CD.
father was born.
And then, you were probably merely a twinkle in somebody's eye in that year. And then my first recording project in the studio was actually, my sister was going to school at Lawrence, and Fred Sturm there had started. She was a violin player as well, and Fred Sturm, the jazz band director there, sorry, I miss him too. He had this studio orchestra to get the string players involved with the. And my sister was really into that. She would have been that on the road string orchestra kind of thing, playing with all kinds of rock groups and stuff. But then the keyboards came out and everything got really cheap, and they weren't hiring strings anymore for it. So that's what she was really into. But Fred Sturm was into this as well, and so my sister called me. She's 6 years older than I am, so I guess I was in junior high, maybe, or early high school, I forget. But she hired me. We went into Irish Sax Studio, and we did the theme music or the credit music for WLUK Channel 11 in Green Bay. We did Fred had written the piece out and got the orchestra in there, and we played. That was fun. That was fun. That was my first studio gig, I guess, for just like music by the pound stuff, you know. And my first artist thing was with Swing Crew, and then I've put my own albums out and stuff, but I know enough in the studio about the engineering side of it just to get lost and to ask what I'm looking for, but not to actually push the buttons.
Are you? There are a lot of there are a lot of organizations that surround musicians. You know, you've got like the union. You've got maybe a Madison Area Musicians Group, or different stuff like that. Are there organizations that you're part of that you found to be helpful?
On the teaching side of it, I
throughout
am. Yeah, on the teaching side of it, I am. I'm part of ASTA, which is the American String Teachers Association, the Suzuki Association of the Americas, is the International Suzuki Organization, and there's a Wisconsin chapter as well. And at one point, I was the president of that organization, so it was we got under what we were doing at the time, got a workshop going that we do every other year now, and that's still going on. So kind of a feather on the cap on that one. So, yeah. And then there's the Madison Music Collective was a group out of Madison I was a part of, which is more improvising music stuff. Joan Wildman, the improv teacher at the UW-Madison, was heading that up. And that was really about getting improvised music out there for people, but really musician focused in trying to get a living wage for musicians to get out and play this stuff that isn't, oh, I recognize that piece, for new music to go out there and to getting an audience established and getting grants and whatnot to get more of the avant-garde and jazz and stuff out. So, yeah.
Cool.
So lots of different organizations like that over the years. I was a member of the Musicians Union, and then I'm not now. I wasn't kicked out or anything. It was just my dues were more than I was getting out of it. And, you know, at this point, I look at retirement going, oh, I could have been, you know, they would have been doubling my, like, 401k stuff all this time. But, you know, I'll sign up again with them now that I believe in unions. It was just where I was living, there was a union only in name at best, if even a local chapter there at the time. Because the Musicians Union was strong up into the 70s even, but into the 80s it started. What they could do had diminished. I think it's growing again, what they're able to do for musicians. I think that's a really good thing. So, yeah. My folks are public school teachers, so I'm a pro-union guy.
Right
Try
on.
and buy wares that are made by union folks.
Better together, better
That's
together.
right. That's right.
Well, Randal, thank you so much for coming over and
Oh, my pleasure, Scott.
hanging out with me this afternoon for a little bit, sharing some of your story and some of your music.
Thank you. It was a blast playing with you last night, too. Thank you
Oh,
so much for bringing me on it. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm so honored that you were able to do that and be there. And it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to Dale. Thank you for bringing me up for tomorrow night at Art Start, 7 o'clock in Rhinelander. And that's going to be fun to meet a bunch of whole new people and share a bunch of new stuff with them. And they'll be just as surprised as I am as to what comes out of it.
Absolutely. Well,
Thank you.
Would it be too much of me to ask for you to send us out on one?
Sure.
The only
We'll get a little singing and playing in on this one.
cool.
It's an Elizabeth Cotten tune. It's called Freight Train. She wrote this when she was, I think, 11 or 12 or 13 years old. She borrowed, her brother would call it stealing, her brother's guitar from under the bed when he was gone. And she was left-handed, so she learned how to play it upside down and backwards. And this song, it was there's an interesting guitar part that I don't play because I'm going to play it on fiddle, but Skip Jones was at a festival with Elizabeth Cotten, and she said, how do you play that piece? And she said, well, it's like this. And he sat straight across from her and is playing it, and this is a story Skip told me. He said, I just couldn't get it. I couldn't get it. It's like, and she finally said to Skip, close your eyes. I was like, oh, yeah, because everything was upside down and backwards. So he taught this tune she taught the tune to Skip, and Skip taught it to me. And anyway, it's called Freight Train. It's a good old tune. We're just gonna wait for it to come around again. It's like Alice's restaurant. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. Freight train going round the bend. Freight train coming back again. One of these days turn that train around and come back to my hometown. Now one more place I'd like to be, one more place I'd like to see them old Blue Ridge Mountains climb as I ride old number 9. Freight train going so fast, freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. Now when I die, Lord, bury me deep down on the end of Chestnut Street, where I can hear number 9 as she rolls down the line. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. Please don't tell what train I'm on, so they won't know where I've gone. Something like that. Thank you all for listening. Thank you very much, Scott, for having me on. Again,
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Randall. What a day, man. What a day. Well, best of luck at your show tomorrow. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here. Art starts 7 o'clock Thursday night.
Thank you.
The 18th. And you ready to say goodbye?
Bye-bye.
Bye. Yeah. Oh, we're saying goodbye. All right. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. Be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And we'll catch you on the next session.
Namaste, y'all.